everybody. We hope you're having a beautiful day. We're so glad to be back with you all this season. Hopefully you've gone back and watched season 1 again and been following us this season. We have an interesting topic for you today. Everybody's talking about it. I mean, everybody's literally talking about it. And that's the jab. We're just going to say the jab because there's a lot of censorship going on. Which, as you can tell, I feel a little biased about that right there. But a lot of people are having to confront whether or not you're going to take this jab. You're running into pressures from family, from your church world, from your jobs, from schools. And so how are you guys, has this jab, again, censorship, has this jab impacted your lives yet? I know it has mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My company has decided either you take it or you have to leave. We have accommodations for medical or religious, but if you're not in either of those categories, you have to have it by a certain date or you are no longer employed. And the reason for your firing is insubordination, which now has financial impact because you can't collect unemployment, you don't get stock options, there's things that have financial implications. So it's a simple get it or go if you don't have medical or religious exemptions. And so it's been a rough couple weeks. With people trying to reconcile that. And while I understand it's a difficult decision for the company, I think there are other ways that could have been done. So it just, it's one of those things where and I had a person that I talked to that said, I'm about to put my job before God, and I hope he forgives me. And that just broke my heart. Because while it's a very easy decision for me, for others it's not. And the thought that now I have to identify and I have to defend my religious belief really stresses me out because I'm thinking, what happened to I could believe whatever I wanted to believe, and if we didn't think like that was okay. And then you're telling me I have to put something in my body, and if I don't want it there, I think most people have a psychological reaction because they're hearing so many things. And then it's just like, I met somebody who had COVID and she was freaking out. And I thought, can you not breathe? But she was hyperventilating. So I need you to calm down, but just because you have it doesn't mean you're gonna die, right? So that's I think people will have a psychological reaction. They're expecting something to happen, and so now they're nervous. There were people who had panic attacks, and one guy had to get an EKG because he was just so overwhelmed and stressed about this whole thing. So while I understand, I don't really understand getting something for something that's 99% recovery rate, but while I understand what the business is trying to do, the impact on people's mental health, their finances. People are talking about, I gotta, sell my house. I got all these things that they're now wrestling with because they won't go against their religious belief. If they don't get an exemption, you don't have a job. And I of course filed for a religious exemption because I've never been vaccinated for anything.
I know, I was shocked when you said that.
Never.
I was like,
and
wow,
so, because my mom, I've always had one. And so I really didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff. My kids haven't been vaccinated for anything. So I didn't know what all of this is even about until now. And the thought of that now being a reality, if I don't have that, then absolutely, I'll have to leave my job of 20 years. But, it is what it is. Because I'm now not going to start doing something different because, financial implications. But it's a very stressful time for people.
Very stressful. Wow. I know it impacted my son going back to college. His university required it as well. And he was not going to be allowed to return to college without the shot. So, I'm grateful his exemption came through. for this year alone. So they didn't tell us that till August. How we cut it close, but we didn't know what he would do. I mean, I don't know. I find this so. We're not going to try to give you medical advice on this show or anything like that. I think we're just, the impact of this has just been so far-reaching. People are literally choosing between their lot, the way they want to live, and their jobs, and I mean, in a jab, they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. I think that, you know, we're always going to come from how this is affecting us as women and how it's affecting us as Christian women. But one thing that I really dislike is that the divide that this has caused. You know, I have family members, which is their choice, that are like, hey, if you haven't been vaccinated, you can't come to our house. You know, and I'm like, man, this sucks, you know? And even I think I told one of you guys, or all of you, I went into Walmart and I think she was totally out of line. I just can't see them giving her this job as a greeter to question people whether they had their papers or not, you know, but essentially she said, have you been vaccinated yet? And I looked at her and said many times and kept walking. This is none of your business. But the divide and the friction that this is causing is one of the issues I have with it. The other issue I have is if we're being, quote, pushed or forced to do this now, what else are you going to try to push or force us to do? You know? And I think I should have a say on what I put in my body. If I don't want to do that, then it's on me. And if you want to, it's on you. Because I don't want to make this, oh, well, if you take the jab, you take the jab. You know, if you don't, you don't. But to me, it's the controversy and it's the division that is brought up because, again, you know, if you start this conversation in different settings, you know, someone saying you're irresponsible for not taking the jab. You're overbearing for telling me I have to, you know. And I just hate that that's what is going on. And amongst so many other things that we have going on in our country, divide is not what we need right now. And I think this is dividing employers, employees, families. It's just a lot. And the push, you know, I have some underlying health issues that, you know, my doctor said, well, you know, you really should get it. And I said, I really don't want to right now. And the urgency is, you know, I just feel like it's a push. It's being forced. And I don't want to be forced to do anything that I don't want to do. And so I think it's a sad state. On the other hand, I was talking to somebody else in a similar position as what Jenny was describing at her job. And I told them, I said, I want you to understand something. God's always going to fight for his people.
Always.
I don't know what he's going to do with all these mandates that are affecting his people. I said, but look for him to respond, you know, because he has an order. And if they're making us do it and it conflicts with what we believe faith-wise, he's going to have a response for that. You know, and I said, just keep watching, because he's going to respond, and he's going to fight for his people. History says he will fight for us.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. I sat in a meeting with some people I didn't know till I got there. It's like 12 of us. And so they wanted us to talk about our feelings. And so they were bringing up different random topics. So like, hey, like if he pulled up a Make America Great sign, great again, he was like, what do you think of that? Or what do you think of, I can't even remember, I can't breathe. The other one said, I can't breathe. And so then he said, you know, the jab, and he was like, what do you think? And this man went in, this other man there, went in harder on that than anything. He's like, I get angry. I get angry at all the people who won't take it. I think they're murderers. I think they hate their fellow brothers. I was like, well, geez. Yeah. But just to hear that kind of passion, I don't understand how we got so divided. I think we've been on a road to division over the last 8.5 years. We'll let you read between the lines on that one. But it wasn't just one thing or one person that divided us. And now we're on a bigger road to division. It's not like it got better. Yeah. And so but I'm watching it even impact the church. which to me is the craziest thing.
I think that's probably more distressful to me.
To me, that is.
That we are of them who believe to the saving of the soul, and now all of a sudden we need a vaccine to be, or a jab to feel safe. That's who are we talking about when we say, you know, you need healing, you need, who exactly are we going to at this point if we think now this is peace?
See, and I'm not even thinking that. I'm thinking how easily divided we are over it as a church. It's like, oh, you don't have it, you're not doing your part. Or you do have it, you're going to hell. How is that? Whoa! How did we get here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just the impact. Jess, where you at on this?
I always have to be careful with my words because they have weight, seriously. And I'll try to, with this with this topic of COVID, because I've had some heated I'm very much into politics and all this other stuff, so I've had some heated discussions in regards to if this is the mark of the beast or heaven or hell situation from my brethren, you know, who really believe certain things. And I will be honest, I'm against it. I'm against, like people say, well, what about the chickenpox vaccination or the measles vaccination? I have been vaccinated. My children are vaccinated. But it was something about this. I've even had people say, well, you go to a church where they trying to preach blah, 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 blah. Wait a minute. I still have a relationship with God myself. So I'm not just going off of whatever my leaders are saying. And plus, I do listen to some science. But it was just the money behind it, how they're pushing, if you do this, certain they'll take away the funding if you don't do this. I've never seen them do that with chickenpox. I went back
or the flu,
you know, because I took the flu shot one time and almost died. So I want to be honest about that. I did. It almost took me out. And so I never took the flu shot again. But that doesn't mean I'm against it and you're going to go to hell if you take it. I know we got to go to commercial, so I'm going to be quiet.
I don't know why you went quiet so fast.
No, but I do got something to say when we come back.
All right, then that's our segue. When we come back, we're going to let Jessica say what she has to say about this jab. Now, for real, we're going to keep talking about it a little bit. This is the table talk that we've been having in private, and we want to bring it to you. Feel free to chime in the comments, and we'll be right back. Did you know that when you are quiet, your voice is missing to God's ears? I know some of us have prayed and we're wondering, how long should I pray about this? Why should I pray if God already knows? How will I know God is answering? And what do I do when I feel like God's not listening? But God is listening for your voice. It's too quiet in this world for the troubles we have. You have to raise your voice, and God wants to hear from you. It's Too Quiet, a book about prayer. It's designed to answer your prayer questions and build your faith. Visit presstopray.com.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out.
Hey everybody, we're back. We're talking about how taking this jab or not taking it is impacting our lives in our churches. And so I know Jessica had something she wanted to share with you all. You said you had a lot to say. So before I ask a question, go ahead.
I do have a lot to say. I don't think that now, when this first started, right, we didn't know what to expect from it. The impact that it had on everybody's mental health. Depression is at an all-time high, like they said they've never seen before. A lot of suicides. Suicide is up. I'm not just saying that because it's COVID or whatever, but a lot of people didn't know what to do. A lot of the information that trickled down, whether first it was said that it wasn't that bad, then it's really bad. Then there used to be a point where the news, they would show the numbers every day. 100,000 have died, 200,000 have died. Then next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, don't bring anybody in my house that doesn't live here, blah, you know. And I was one of those people, like, if they don't live here, don't bring them here, because I don't know what this thing is going to do. But I've always been like that. Let me quit.
We're not talking about people coming to your house.
Okay, anyway.
None of us have ever been to her house.
Okay. Anyway, because I would not be distracted from my point of thought. So, but I think that, in all honesty, it's your decision. You have your own conviction. I was highly upset with my mother for getting it. And then I was just like, you know what? It's her body. I can't. And my thing is, whatever's going to happen to me is going to happen to me. But I cannot control. I have to take COVID tests every time if I'm going somewhere for business. They make me do the rapid test and then do another test. I do several tests. So I've been tested quite a bit. And I'm just like, so then when I got sick, I was like, oh my God, is it the COVID and what's gonna happen? Look, then you go look up the symptoms and see, do I have the symptoms? It's everything that you, was like, okay, so what is the name of this? You know, but I keep on remembering, I'm not just saying that I'm not saying that it's not real. I'm not one of those people that are in denial, because some people say, you know, this is all fake. It's the government trying to, no, it is real. It's real. We're not saying that it isn't, but we also are not saying that. I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead, go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet. Because my words have what people bring it back up to me. I don't want no problems.
Okay, well, we'll let you have no problems.
You know, I think there's consequences to every decision that you make.
Absolutely.
And I think it's the right to choose those consequences. You know, if I were pro-jab, you know, I wouldn't think anything about it, right? Like most people think it's just as easy as rolling up your sleeve and go do it. You know, what's the problem? While others have very strict, you know, religious or, you know, ethical reasons for not doing it. And there's consequences attached to everything, right? So, you know, it's not about being forced. It's about choosing your consequences at this point. Because I have to pick my consequences. It is what it is, because you still have a choice. You could not do it, but there are consequences to not doing it, and you have to deal with those consequences. So you know. Did
you ever have an effect for not getting like the chicken pox or anything? None of that.
No, and my kids have gotten the chicken pox, and I made them all get it together at the same time because I'm only taking off work once, so it wasn't, you know. One of them got it, and I'm like, all right, everybody get in here.
Everybody get in.
Because we're gonna get it all together. And it was very mild. I've just not ever been really sick like that. But you know, I never had mumps, never had measles, I've just never had any of that stuff. I've never had the chicken pox that I know of. I do remember my brother and sister getting it, but I didn't get it. And we were all in the same house. So I don't know. I'm not a, you know, go to the doctor kind of, I believe in faith healing. That's how I was raised. You get some oil, you're going to be all right.
Well, I believe in going to the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the doctor now. I'm not against the doctors.
I'm not against them. I just don't go to them. The first time I went to the doctor, I had a baby. So I just, you know, that's just me. But again, that was my choice. It's not like I don't have insurance. I could go to the doctor every day if I wanted to. It was just my choice. And I think you, as long as I am preserving my right to choose, you know what I mean? That's it. To me, that's it. I can choose.
I love that word, because that's what I feel the problem is. You're trying to take my rights away to choose. If I want to do it, that's my business. If I don't want to do it, that's my business. It's just like my rights to vote. But I'm not going to go there because that's not the subject. But I'm saying my whole problem with this is you taking my rights away. We say we live in the land of the free, the home of the brave, but I don't feel like that. I feel like it's always, and we're making this, besides what we're doing in the church, like what our children are having to go through. Not being able, don't know if they're going to be in school today, out of school tomorrow. The stress that they have from it. It's not just, I remember coming up, I didn't even know that much about politics and stuff that was going on as a child. These kids know all of this stuff. Maybe, of course, they say in technology, but still they didn't know the division and the hatred. Hatred is taught. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be quiet because I got passionate about this.
I do have a question then, but where does it become, and this is the other side of this argument, where does it become your right versus the greater good, so to speak?
I don't understand that question.
The better,
but who gets to decide what my greater good is?
But
Biden?
If they say it's not about you, right? It's not about
the administration. I do believe we get what we vote for.
I didn't vote. Wait a minute.
No, I'm not saying who any of us voted for, but I'm just saying whether it's this administration or the next administration, who gets to decide what is the greater good for me?
That's right.
And that's what I am, the pushback is not so much just the jab, it's just where is this taking us? And where's this, how's it gonna affect my children? If the Lord should tarry their children, I'm just questioning where is this taking us? And if you do this, what's next? That I don't have a say-so in, or that I have to do if I wanna hang out with you, if I want this benefit, or, I've never experienced things being attached to whether or not I get a jab or not.
Well, I mean, when we allowed them to illegally search us to get on an airplane, because that's illegal, it just is. We allowed that because of 9/11, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is fear will make you give up those rights. If you feel like it could protect me, fear will make you hand those over, because we handed that over because we were afraid, right?
I just wanted to go out of town.
Yeah, but we handed those rights over to be searched. You can't take this on a plane, you can't take that on, we handed that over because we were afraid. And this to me has that exact same position. People are afraid. And for some, it's a very real fear. They said only 20 in a million would have a reaction to the jab. And people are like, oh my God, you got greater chances of being struck by lightning. I said, yeah, unless you're one of the 20. Then it feels different. Because now I've caused myself problems that I didn't have before I went in here. So, we've got to deal with our own fear. We just got to deal with our own fears.
Is it fear? Or is it that I'm debating. Is it fear? Or is it that the people who govern our lives are threatening to do certain things? Well, that is fear. That is fear.
Right? You fear the repercussions of, they could be financial, they could be medical, it's just fear.
If you want
I think for some it's fear, but I think what Crystal said, and she just said on a side note, she's like, I just wanted to go on vacation. Mm-hmm. But that's true. A lot of people just want to go on with life. So for them, it's not a philosophical thing. Right. They're like, okay, I got to get another shot.
Right.
And to be honest, I mean, I've thought about this a lot, because when I wanted to go to Africa on a mission trip, I got the yellow fever shot. Mm-hmm. I've had my yellow card for 10 years. I never looked at what was in it. Mm-hmm. So what makes this, and I am kind of playing the advocate, but what makes this so different in terms of it deserves so much more thought?
I think it's the rush. The rush has a lot, for me personally. I don't want to feel like the trial.
Well, and yeah, because it's a clinical trial that I didn't get a choice where
I love that.
For, right? Yeah. And
don't make me the guinea pig. That's right.
Or my family, or my kids. But again, because there is a divide in even that statement, well, I don't mind being the guinea pig if I don't mind being the trial if it works. Okay. I don't want to be the trial this soon, period, you know? And I did get to travel recently, and the divide is real. You know, when you look at the procedures for those who have not taken the jab versus for those who have taken the jab, oh my goodness.
And it costs.
Oh.
So we went on a cruise
It's
recently.
all about money.
Yeah, we went on a cruise recently, and we had to pay for travel insurance, which I've never bought. We had to pay for a COVID test. We had to pay to get off the boat at a port, when normally you could just walk around the city if you wanted to. You couldn't do that. Had to pay to get off the boat. And I thought, they're trying to make, and those that were vaccinated could just do whatever. So they're trying to make the pain of not getting it worse than the pain of getting it.
It's all about money. Money, money, money. And I could really go there, but I have to watch my words. But it's all about money. It's all about money. It's all about money. I'm gonna take your funding. Your school can't do this. Your school, are you gonna require your students to do this? But if you don't, money, you have to pay this. If you don't, it's all about money. It's all about money. It is all about money. And your health.
See, and I think it's about giving up rights. I think,
Which is all about your money.
I once heard
It's about money.
a pastor or somebody say, there's no way that the Antichrist, and we believe in the Bible, so you know the spirit of the Antichrist can work. Is like he said something along the lines of, there's no way the Antichrist can do what he wants to do while America still stands. Because America gives its people too many rights for us to be governed by one world system. We have too many individuals. We have too many who have their own guns. We have too many who have their own voices. They have too many platforms. And what I'm seeing is the deterioration of our rights. And so I'm like, it is ushering us towards a system where we can be one world.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to, girl. That's what we were talking about last. Listen, the root of it.
Yeah.
No, because it's going to be a point where we cannot buy and sell. It's big. It's so, but it always the one world. I'm gonna be quiet.
So, but our job in all this. I know you can't be. She keep talking and keep saying I'm gonna be quiet. It doesn't work. It's about money, but there's always an agenda.
Yeah.
There's always an
I'm
agenda.
gonna control your money.
And so I think that it's important. As you can tell, we have a lot to say on this, and we're not sure what all to say on there. But we are praying for you. We pray that God give you the right decision for you, and we will be back with you next week.